Brazil, the factory that can't keep its product. Brazil exports more footballers than any nation on earth. In 2024, over 1,100 Brazilian players transferred to foreign clubs, more than France, Argentina, and England combined. The talent pipeline operates with industrial efficiency. Academies identify prospects at 12, first-team debuts arrive by 17. European contracts materialize before players reach 20. Vinicius Jr. left Flamengo at 18. Real Madrid paid €45 million for a teenager with fewer than 30 professional appearances. Rodrigo followed the same path from Santos a year later. Same fee, same age, same trajectory. Endrick's deal was signed when he was 16, executed the moment he turned 18. The biggest negotiation in Brazilian football history sent a child to Spain before he'd completed a full senior season. The economics are brutally simple. Brazilian Serie A television rights generate approximately $650 million annually. The Premier League's broadcast deals exceed $4.5 billion. A bottom-table English club receives more TV money than Brazil's wealthiest teams. When Palmeiras, the reigning Brazilian champion, pays its entire squad $40 million in wages, that figure wouldn't cover 3 Premier League regulars. So the talent flows out. Always has, always will. But the assumption that this export model could be reversed, that sufficient capital could keep Brazil's stars home, has been tested. In 2004, Kia Jarabshian's Media Sports Investments injected $35 million into Corinthians, promising to retain generational talent by matching European wages. Tevez and Mascherano delivered a championship in 2005. By 2007, both had left for England. Brazilian federal police were investigating money laundering, and Corinthians were relegated. The most audacious attempt to reverse the talent drain collapsed into criminal inquiry. The pattern continues. Brazilian clubs carry combined debts exceeding $1.9 billion. Palmeiras and Flamengo dominate domestically, while remaining financially invisible globally. The Dallas Cowboys alone are worth more than every Brazilian club combined. The best young players leave earlier each year, signed to European contracts before they've proven anything except potential. Brazil manufactures world-class footballers with unmatched efficiency. It cannot manufacture the commercial ecosystem that makes keeping them economically rational. The talent factory runs at full capacity. The shipping department never closes. NASL, the original Super League collapse. Pelé earned more in his first Cosmos season than entire NASL franchises generated in revenue. Football's most celebrated goalscorer arrived at Downing Stadium on June 15, 1975. 3 World Cups, a legend without peer, to transform soccer from immigrant curiosity into mainstream American obsession. Within 3 years, New York Cosmos averaged over 47,000 attendants. Beckenbauer, Carlos Alberto, Giorgio Chinaglia joined him. The roster read like a Hall of Fame reunion tour. Other franchises panicked into imitation. Suddenly, every owner wanted their own aging legend. The Tampa Bay Rowdies signed Rodney Marsh. The Fort Lauderdale Strikers brought in Gerd Müller. Spending escalated without any underlying business model to support it. The economics functioned nowhere. NASL teams hemorrhaged millions annually. Catastrophic figures. Expansion flooded the league with undercapitalized ownership groups competing for stars they couldn't afford. Television contracts paid fractions of what baseball and American football commanded. The gap between stadium energy and sustainable revenue widened until the entire structure buckled. By 1985, the NASL had evaporated. 24 franchises collapsed to 9, then 0. The Cosmos, once matching European giants in attendance, simply stopped existing. American soccer retreated to college campuses and ethnic leagues for nearly a decade. The pattern wrote itself before anyone recognized patterns existed. Star acquisition generates headlines. Headlines don't automatically convert to television rights fees. Without television money, gate receipts alone cannot service elite payrolls. The NASL inscribed this equation in bankruptcy filings, 40 years before China would repeat it at 50 times the budget. Pelé proved soccer could captivate American audiences. He also proved captivation and profitability occupy different universes. Japan, the billion-dollar warning. The J-League didn't launch, it detonated. May 15, 1993. Verdy Kawasaki hosted Yokohama Marinos before 60,000 spectators in a stadium that had never seen professional football. Zico, Gary Lineker, Ramon Diaz, international names embedded in a competition that hadn't existed 12 months earlier. Japan had engineered professional football from corporate sponsorship, government coordination, and aggressive foreign recruitment. First-season crowds averaged 17,976, extraordinary for a league with zero heritage. Corporate parents flooded money into facilities, marketing, and talent acquisition. The J-League positioned itself as Asia's answer to the Premier League, a regional force that would challenge Europe within a generation. First-season revenue alone topped $1 billion from tickets, TV rights, and merchandise. Then, Japan's asset bubble burst. The economic stagnation that would define the lost decade arrived precisely as football demanded growth capital. Sponsors retreated. Corporate parents faced their own balance sheet emergencies. By 1997, average attendance had cratered to 10,131. Several clubs approached insolvency. A 4-year-old league required emergency surgery to survive. The 1999 reforms introduced promotion and relegation through a J1, J2 pyramid. Wage controls replaced uncapped spending. Clubs rebuilt around academy development and community roots rather than imported stars. The model stabilized, but the superpower ambitions died with it. Japan remains Asia's most professionally run football nation. It never became a global destination league. The J-League discovered what China would ignore 2 decades later. Macroeconomic foundations determine football ceilings. When those foundations fracture, football falls first. Cultural adoption cannot be accelerated through investment alone, even with money, organization, and genuine public enthusiasm behind it. The warning sat in plain sight. Nobody studied it. The Russian League, when oligarchs get bored. Samuel Eto'o commuted to training by private jet. The Cameroonian striker had signed for Anzhi Makhachkala in August 2011, a club from Makhachkala, Dagestan's capital of 600,000, situated in one of Russia's most unstable regions. His salary, €20 million annually, the largest in world football. But Makhachkala lacked housing suitable for his lifestyle, so Eto'o lived in Moscow and flew 1,000 miles to work. Suleiman Kerimov, the billionaire owner whose fortune derived from gold mining and banking investments, had decided to construct a super club through pure monetary force. Willian arrived from Shakhtar Donetsk. Roberto Carlos arrived from Corinthians at 37. Anzhi assembled a squad designed for Champions League contention, funded entirely by one man's enthusiasm and one man's bank accounts. Simultaneously, Zenit St. Petersburg weaponized Gazprom resources to sign Hulk for €40 million and Axel Witsel for €40 million in the same window, €80 million combined, the most expensive transfer spree in Russian history. Russian football positioned itself as Europe's emerging financial power. Oligarch fortunes channeled through clubs as political expression and personal vanity. The model's brittleness revealed itself when Kerimov simply grew bored. By August 2013, Anzi's budget dropped by 2/3 overnight. Eto'o departed. Willian departed. The squad that cost hundreds of millions scattered within months. Anzi eventually lost their professional license entirely in 2022. A club that once fielded the world's highest-paid footballer reduced to non-existence within a decade. Zenit survived through state-adjacent funding, but Russian football's broader ambitions ended with the 2022 invasion of Ukraine. UEFA expelled Russian clubs from European competition. Sanctions froze oligarch assets. The infrastructure constructed for the 2018 World Cup, $14 billion in stadiums, training facilities, and transportation networks, became monuments to geopolitical miscalculation. Football built on political convenience dies the moment politics become inconvenient. Chinese Super League, the gold rush that became a ghost town. Oscar left Champions League football in his peak years and arrived in Shanghai expecting to make money and build a legacy. The Brazilian playmaker left Chelsea in January 2017 for £60 million and wages exceeding £400,000 weekly. Chinese football was betting it would become European football's equal within a decade. Oscar stayed 8 years, playing in a league that no longer exists in any recognizable form. Between 2016 and 2019, the Chinese Super League operated as football's most aggressive buyer. Clubs backed by property conglomerates, Evergrande, Suning, Greenland, threw sovereign nation budgets at transfer fees. Hulk cost €55 million. Axel Witsel commanded €18 million in annual wages. Carlos Tevez earned £615,000 per week to score 4 goals in 16 matches. The strategy wasn't sporting, it was market capture. Establish China as elite football's destination before anyone else recognized the opportunity. The model required perpetual growth. Property developers treated football spending as marketing expenditure. Acceptable losses subsidized by real estate profits that seemed permanently guaranteed. When President Xi Jinping endorsed football development as national priority, spending accelerated further. Political alignment provided financial immunity, until it didn't. The correction arrived from multiple directions simultaneously. The Chinese Football Association imposed a 100% levy on foreign transfers, effectively doubling every fee. Wage caps crushed salary structures overnight. Then, Evergrande's $300 billion debt crisis revealed that the corporate parents funding this expansion had been financing losses with borrowed money secured against property values that no longer existed. Jiangsu Suning won the 2020 championship. Their parent company's liquidity crisis dissolved the club 108 days later, players informed through social media. Guangzhou Evergrande, 8-time champions and twice continental winners, couldn't pay wages by 2022 and formally ceased operations in 2025. Shanghai Port survives as one of few spending-era clubs still functioning at elite level. The foreign stars scattered. Some honored contracts in a diminished league. Most triggered release clauses and returned westward. Oscar remained longest, stranded in a market that existed only in projections, before finally departing in late 2024. The Indian Super League. The demographic illusion. On paper, the math was irresistible. 1.4 billion people, a young population hungry for entertainment, Bollywood money ready to deploy. Football, the planet's universal language, finally arriving in South Asia with proper backing. October 2014. Alessandro Del Piero walked onto a pitch in Kolkata to inaugurate the Indian Super League. The 40-year-old Juventus legend led a procession of European retirees. Trezeguet, Pires, Ljungberg. Film stars owned franchises. Corporate India had invested hundreds of crores. Early attendance figures delivered optimism. Stadiums filled for marquee fixtures. Television ratings spiked during the compressed 2-month season. 3 seasons later, the fractures spread visibly. Viewership declined once novelty evaporated. Costs vastly exceeded revenue. Franchises bleeding tens of millions annually, dependent on central subsidies and ownership patience to continue operating. The ISL had rented attention without building any permanent relationship with audiences. The deeper problem existed beyond football economics. India's sporting culture had calcified around cricket, not merely as preference, but as infrastructure, media ecosystem, broadcasting calendar, and social ritual. Football competed against kabaddi for secondary attention. ISL television ratings struggled against established competitions. A nation of 1.4 billion generated modest football engagement relative to population size. The ISL continues operating, restructured, professionalized, no longer dependent on European retirement tours. But the superpower thesis expired quietly. Population is not audience. Potential is not habit. India demonstrated that football's universality has boundaries. Where existing sport infrastructure already dominates cultural attention, football cannot simply purchase displacement. The billion-person market remains a spreadsheet projection. It may never become anything else.
MLS, the Galactico era that didn't work.
In 2007, David Beckham arrived in Los Angeles to save American soccer. 8 years later, Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard arrived to do the same thing. The difference? Beckham understood what he was signing up for. Gerrard and Lampard thought they were signing retirement packages. The designated player era was MLS's attempt to replay the Cosmos formula with a salary cap. The theory? European legends would legitimize the league. Their names would sell jerseys, and global audiences would follow. The reality? Aging stars produced retirement tours, not immediate relevance. In 2016, Gerrard, Lampard, and Andrea Pirlo, 3 of the greatest midfielders of their generation, had been voted among the league's most overrated players. By their own peers. Pirlo couldn't cover ground. Lampard couldn't stay healthy. Gerrard couldn't adapt. But here's what separates MLS from every other chapter in this video. The league recognized the failure and changed strategy. Around 2016, a pivot began. Instead of importing fading European stars, MLS started developing young talent and selling it to Europe. Alphonso Davies went from Vancouver to Bayern Munich for $22 million, then won a Champions League. Miguel Almiron broke the league's transfer record, moving to Newcastle for $27 million. Tyler Adams, Brendan Aronson, John Duran. The exports kept coming. The model flipped. MLS stopped trying to be where careers ended and became where global careers could begin. And here's the irony. The man who understood this first was Beckham himself. While other stars arrived for their farewell tours, Beckham negotiated an ownership stake. Inter Miami, long-term infrastructure. A bet on where the sport was going, not where it had been. The result? Soccer's popularity in America has tripled in a decade. The league now averages 23,000 fans per game, third highest in North American professional sports. Among Americans under 35, soccer is the second most popular sport to watch. Messi chose Miami over everywhere else. MLS tried to buy global relevance. That failed. Then it built something sustainable instead. Europe, The 48-hour collapse that refused to die. April 18, 2021. 9:30 p.m. UK time. 12 clubs. One statement. JP Morgan's $4.2 billion commitment. Football's established order detonated in a single press release. The European Super League promised guaranteed participation for founding members. No qualification, no relegation. Permanent seats regardless of performance. Florentino Perez defended it days later on Spanish television, claiming young fans were losing interest in football because of too many low-quality games. He'd calculated everything except what football actually means to the people who watch it. The backlash arrived before morning. Players condemned their own employers. Bruno Fernandes replied to a teammate's post, "Dreams can't be buy." Broken English capturing everything. Governments threatened legislation, but supporters delivered the decisive blow. Chelsea fans blocked the team bus at Stamford Bridge. Within hours, Chelsea withdrew. Manchester City followed. Then the flood. Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, United. All 6 English clubs gone within 48 hours. Ed Woodward announced his resignation from Manchester United the same week. Italian clubs collapsed next. From announcement to humiliation, 48 hours. The strange aftermath. UEFA's reformed Champions League quietly absorbed the Super League's logic. Expanded to 36 teams. 8 guaranteed matches. 2 additional spots for historically dominant leagues. The financial concentration Perez proposed now operates under different branding with minor adjustments. Surprisingly, the Super League never actually died. A22 Sports, the entity behind the project, took UEFA to the European Court of Justice. In December 2023, the court ruled UEFA's threats to ban breakaway clubs were illegal under EU competition law. The Super League remains legally viable. Its architects remain patient. Fans rejected the idea in 48 hours. The courts validated it 2 years later. Whether that represents supporter power or its illusion depends entirely on what happens next. Saudi Pro League, the experiment still running. Cristiano Ronaldo's Al Nassr contract reportedly exceeds €200 million annually when commercial arrangements are included. The number sounds fictional. In Saudi football's current economy, it's merely the opening bid. Within months of Ronaldo's January 2023 signing, Saudi Pro League spending surpassed €850 million in a single transfer window, trailing only the Premier League, outpacing every other domestic competition in football history. Neymar, Benzema, Mane, Mahrez, Kante, Brozovic, Europe's elite arrived on terms that made previous football salaries seem quaint. The Public Investment Fund, Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth vehicle approaching $1 trillion, acquired 75% ownership of 4 clubs simultaneously. This wasn't China's property developer model or Russia's oligarch hobbyism. This was state-level capital treating football as geopolitical infrastructure, with a near $1 trillion balance sheet behind it. The early data points toward familiar patterns. Attendance at many fixtures hovers between 2,000 and 5,000 despite megastar rosters. International television rights sell for minimal fees. Neymar spent most of his first 18 months injured. Benzema has expressed frustration publicly, his future uncertain. Coaches cycle through clubs faster than tactical identities can form. The attention generated by Ronaldo's arrival hasn't converted into consistent global viewing habits. But Saudi Arabia operates from foundations previous projects lacked. Sovereign wealth doesn't demand conventional return timelines. The 2034 World Cup provides infrastructure deadlines rather than immediate commercial viability requirements. The project may survive through sheer financial immunity to market pressures that destroyed every predecessor. Or it may confirm what China, Russia, India, Japan, and America all discovered. Money purchases players, not emotional investment. Attention spikes don't become audience loyalty. Football resists synthetic enthusiasm regardless of the budget behind it. The experiment continues without conclusion. China spent $2 billion and left ruins. Saudi Arabia is spending more and faster. Whether they're constructing something durable or simply assembling the most expensive ruins football has ever produced remains the only Super League question still awaiting its answer. 9 projects, 7 failures, 1 win, and 1 ongoing gamble. The same lesson echoing across decades and continents. Football cannot be manufactured through capital injection alone. It demands time, community, and organic cultural adoption that no amount of money can accelerate. Make sure to subscribe, because the next failed experiment is already being funded somewhere.